So you're not sure if that job fair is going to be worth your time. Stay tuned. Hey folks, this is Kim. Welcome to livemorenow.net. So you're in the middle of a job search and you're not sure whether or not you want to attend that job fair. Is it worth your time? My short answer is it probably is, but you're going to have to work it. And I'll explain what I mean by that in just a minute. If I personally were in the middle of a job search, particularly if I were unemployed, I know I'd be using all resources available to me, including attending job fairs. But as I already mentioned, you're going to have to work it. Simply showing up and wandering from booth to booth probably won't yield positive results. Now, when I was a corporate recruiter, the company was growing so quickly that we were oftentimes hiring as many as 30 people per month. It was absolutely insane. So I know I personally have attended more job fairs as a potential employer than I care to recall. So I have 6 tips for everybody for the next job fair you attend to make it as successful as possible. Starting with tip number 1, which might seem obvious, you need to show up with several copies of a well-written resume printed on nice paper. If you don't currently have one, I have a video posted on how to create one, or a simple Google search should produce several results of examples that you can follow. Number 2, show up dressed professionally. Chances are you don't need to be wearing a suit, depending on the industry that you want to work in. I know some folks in the banking industry do tend to wear suits still, but business casual should suffice. If you have any doubt and you do own a suit, then wear that suit. Otherwise, for guys, usually a ironed button-down shirt, slacks, and dress shoes you're good. You're done. Ladies, seems to be a little bit more complicated, I think, because there's more variables. So here is the lowdown. Don't wear clothing that is skin tight. Don't wear sky-high stripper pumps. No leggings unless you want to be a yoga instructor. No flip-flops unless you're showing up to become a lifeguard. Again, a simple pair of slacks, a skirt, something that fits properly, and a blouse will suffice. Now, for men and women, if you have several tattoos, I would recommend showing up with those as covered as possible. Some people do make judgments based on that type of stuff. I know my boss particularly is extremely turned off by tattoos. I don't know why. It's just an aversion that he has. So I'm sure he makes hiring decisions based on stuff like that. So something to keep in mind. Number 3, try to do some research before attending the job fair. Usually somewhere there is a published list of companies that are going to be in attendance. So if you can, visit as many websites as possible. This will help you narrow down your search and avoid wasting anyone's time, particularly your own. And it will also give you the opportunity to talk about the company if you get some one-on-one time with a recruiter, which is going to help you stand out. Which leads me to tip number 4. You really got to find a way to stand out without coming across as crazy or weird. I know I'll never forget one woman, for example, who gave me a resume, and in the upper corner she had a headshot of herself. So I was able to remember who this woman was, and that really, I still remember it to this day, and this was 15 or more years ago. Now, if you do take that approach and you are going to put a headshot on your resume, make sure it is professional. No cheesy Instagram selfies that you and your friends, whatever you do on Instagram. So keep it professional. Number 5, when you do speak with the recruiter, try to ask some basic questions like what positions are they currently looking to fill? What qualifications are required of the right candidate? If health benefits are important to you, then ask about their benefits package. Whatever is important to you, try to get as many of those questions answered. It's going to help guide you whether or not you want to take the next step. Also, try to gauge from that recruiter when a good time to follow up would be. This leads me to my final and probably most important tip, follow up. Following up after a job fair is an absolute must. But like I said in my previous tip, try to gauge when a good time for that person would be. Back when I was a corporate recruiter, there were weeks at a time where I was going from college to college to college on a job fair tour, and I wouldn't get back to my office for a week or maybe even more, and I'd have 300 resumes in my bag, so I was overwhelmed. if somebody were to had followed up with me the day after they met with me at this particular job fair and I was still a week away from getting back, their email probably would have gotten lost in the shuffle. So again, that's just something to keep in mind when you're gauging how you're going to follow up. And also just a final personal tip when it does come to following up. I know when I would come back from those job fairs, I was overwhelmed with resumes and swamped, and I wouldn't get back to some people as quickly as I would have liked. So when you follow up, if you express a little bit of empathy, that goes a long way. I know folks who would say stuff like, I know you're really, really busy, but I still wanted to follow up with you. Let me know if you have any questions, whatever. People who called me with any kind of an attitude or even an inkling of an attitude, annoyed that they hadn't heard from me sooner, their resume was going in the garbage. So just a little tip from my personal experience after doing several job fairs back to back. So there you have it, folks. Those are my 6 tips. I wish you the best of luck on your next job fair, and thank you so much for visiting livemorenow.net.